If you don't like spooky tales but still enjoy a thrill, then listen close. This story is not for the faint of heart. It's a tale that has been whispered through generations, a story that chills the bones and makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Gather around, for this is the story of The Last Treat. In a small, forgotten town, Halloween was a night of whispers and chills. The town, shrouded in mist and mystery, seemed to come alive with the spirits of the past. The streets, usually empty and quiet, would be filled with the rustling of leaves and the distant echoes of laughter. But there was one place that everyone avoided, a place that held a dark secret. At the end of a winding road stood a decrepit house, rumoured to be haunted. Its windows were broken and its walls were covered in ivy. The garden, once beautiful, was now overgrown and wild. The house seemed to watch over the town, a silent guardian of its dark secrets. It was said that the house was cursed, and that anyone who dared to enter would never return. Every year, kids dared each other to knock 3 times for a special treat. It was a test of bravery, a rite of passage. The bravest of the brave would approach the house, their hearts pounding in their chests, and knock on the door. Some would run away before they even reached the porch, while others would stand their ground, determined to prove their courage. One crisp Halloween, Lily, with her friends Mia and Jake, decided to confront the legend. They had heard the stories, but they were determined to find out the truth for themselves. Armed with flashlights and a sense of adventure, they set out into the night, their footsteps echoing on the empty streets. The moon was full, casting an eerie glow over the town. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows as they approached. The air was cold and the wind whispered through the trees. The house loomed ahead, its dark silhouette standing out against the night sky. The closer they got, the more their nerves began to fray. But they pressed on, driven by a mixture of curiosity and fear. "Are you really going to do it?" Mia whispered, her voice trembling. She looked at Lily, her eyes wide with fear. The stories they had heard were terrifying, but Lily seemed determined. She had always been the bravest of the group, the one who never backed down from a challenge. "Of course," Lily replied, her voice shaky but resolute. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. She knew that if she backed down now, she would never live it down. She had to prove to herself and her friends that she was brave enough to face the unknown. At the door, Lily knocked 3 times. The sound echoed through the night, a hollow, eerie sound that seemed to reverberate through the house. They held their breath, waiting for something to happen. The seconds stretched into what felt like an eternity. The sound echoed through the night. The silence that followed was deafening. They could hear their own heartbeats, the blood rushing in their ears. The air seemed to grow colder and the shadows around them deepened. Suddenly the door creaked open, revealing a dim hallway. The light inside flickered, casting long, dancing shadows on the walls. The air was thick with the smell of dust and decay. They could barely make out the shape of a figure standing in the doorway. A figure cloaked in darkness asked, "Do you dare to ask for a treat?" Its voice was low and raspy, sending chills down their spines. The figure seemed to blend into the shadows, its features obscured by the darkness. "Yes, we want candy!" Lily replied, her voice stronger than she felt. She stepped forward, her heart pounding in her chest. She could feel the eyes of the figure on her, watching her every move. The figure's ghostly smile widened. It was a smile that held no warmth, only a promise of something sinister. The figure reached out, its hand emerging from the shadows. "Only one will receive a treat," it whispered, handing Lily a warm, tattered bag. The bag felt heavy in her hands, and she could feel something shifting inside. The door slammed shut with a loud bang, making them jump. Panic hit as Mia and Jake realized they were trapped. The hallway seemed to close in around them, the shadows growing darker and more oppressive. They could hear the sound of their own breathing, fast and shallow. Lily opened the bag to find rotting bones and a whispering voice. "Join us." The bones were old and brittle, crumbling to dust at her touch. The voice seemed to come from all around them, echoing in the darkness. Ghostly laughter filled the room. It was a sound that seemed to come from the very walls, a mocking, sinister sound that made their blood run cold. The laughter grew louder, filling their ears and drowning out their thoughts. The figure's eyes glowed with an unnatural light. They were a bright, piercing blue, cutting through the darkness like twin beams of light. The eyes seemed to follow their every move, watching them with an intensity that was almost palpable. "The price is steep," it said. Its voice was filled with a cold, unfeeling malice. The figure stepped closer, its eyes never leaving theirs. A cold grip tightened on Lily's shoulder. It was a grip that felt like ice, sending a shock of fear through her body. She tried to pull away, but the grip only tightened. "No!" she screamed, but the door wouldn't budge. She pounded on it with her fists, her screams echoing through the hallway. The figure watched her struggle, its eyes glowing with a cruel amusement. Mia and Jake charged, but the figure vanished, leaving them alone. They stumbled to a stop, their hearts racing. The hallway was empty, the figure gone, as if it had never been there. Lily was gone, swallowed by shadows. The darkness seemed to close in around her, pulling her into its depths. Her screams faded into silence, leaving Mia and Jake standing alone in the empty hallway. They stumbled out, gasping, as a whisper followed. "Only one will get a treat. The rest will join me forever." The words echoed in their minds, a chilling reminder of what they had just witnessed. Now every Halloween the town warns, never knock on the old house. The legend of the house has become a cautionary tale, a warning to those who might be tempted to test their bravery. The ghost only gives one treat, and it's not candy. The treat is a curse, a fate worse than death. The house stands as a reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows, waiting for the next brave soul to come knocking. And every year, Mia and Jake wonder what happened to Lily. They remember her bravery, her determination, and they can't help but feel a sense of guilt. They had dared her to knock, and now she was gone. Who truly got the last treat? The question lingers in the air, a mystery that may never be solved. The house remains a silent sentinel waiting for the next Halloween night.